What did I do wrong?
I know, right?
That's a great setup, Bob.
Time for two more.
Alrighty now. Good morning. 9 to noon is in the air. We begin with a howl momentarily. Eagerly awaiting the arrival of Minnesota Timberwolves head coach Chris Finch to start this Talker Tuesday 9 to noon style. After that, the great Courtney Cronin, ESPN.com, on the Bears and Packers playing in the wild card round on a Saturday night. Plus, much more coming up later, but let's begin, as we mentioned earlier, with the Hal 9 to noon style. Norder produces, and I'm Paul Allen. Chris Finch, head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, joins us weekly, courtesy of Second Harvest Heartland and twoharvest.org. Miami is here tonight, and Finchy's squad looks to beat them for a second time in 3 days. Good morning, Chris. Thanks for joining the show. How are things?
Hey, good morning, PA, and happy birthday to you.
Oh, my man. Oh, thank you very much. Indeed, it's my birthday. Aw. I think I get a comp grand slam at Denny's. You want to meet there after the radio show and talk passing game scheme?
I would love to.
All right, I'll text you at 11:56. Outside of your team for a second, I didn't watch any of it. Went to bed a little early last night. Any idea what the heck happened to OKC last night? I mean, Charlotte beat them by almost 30, and the Thunder were at home.
No, I didn't see the game. I just saw some of the highlights. I say this all the time. Every team goes through a patch, in the season where things just, don't feel right, aren't good, can't get connected. Teams that you're playing against make a ton of shots, play with more energy, all that kind of stuff. And, maybe it's just OKC's going through that. I didn't see the game specifically.
Right.
From the highlights I saw, it looked like Charlotte made a lot of threes. And
right.
Anytime that happens and they start piling up on you, if you're not making your own shots and,
right.
Then things can get out of hand in a hurry in the NBA.
Yeah, Brandon Miller hit 7. I know that. But, when after that Atlanta game, before the Miami game, a story in The Athletic that Johnny Athletic Krasinski co-wrote. And I saw your quote, where you were talking about the Atlanta game and a little bit with that Brooklyn game. And you're like, everybody goes through patches like this. And I kind of thought to myself, yeah, but I mean, OKC really doesn't go through patches like this. Then, lo and behold, Monday night they lose by almost. And Charlotte ain't bad, but especially when they have LaMelo and Miller and Knipple and the right guys. But nevertheless, still, you're right. Teams go through patches like this, and it seems like middle-ish of the season is where you need to be a little wary, right?
Yeah, I think also the holidays are difficult. There's a lot of distractions. As much as these are. I'm just going to paint the picture for you, Paul. These aren't excuses, but these are realities that happen around a team. 1/3 of the teams are fortunate enough to play on the holidays. If you're not playing on Christmas, you're probably traveling on Christmas. Generally, have a lot of people, a lot of family around, a lot of comings and goings. Then you got New Year in there, which is similar. And it's an odd time of the season, and home or away. Never feels like there's a great way to play it from a schedule point of view. And I'm talking about like off, pacing the team. When do you practice? How do you practice, etc. All that kind of stuff. So these are just realities of the NBA. And I think when you look at us, we lose a overtime game in Denver that finishes at basically midnight. Then we fly back. We have nothing left in the tank. A Brooklyn team comes in who's playing really well, and they smack us. Then we go to Chicago, play a complete 48, get to Atlanta late, and never answer the bell on an early game. Like, it's just the whole rhythm is off for that week. You finish a midnight game. Now, in the playoffs, you might finish a midnight game, but the playoffs are well paced, well spaced. They're kind of a very different animal, as you can imagine, when it comes to travel preparation and everything's in a great rhythm there. So I think it's just not something we want to openly talk about because it does, it's just part of our job.
Right.
So.
Right. And
you know me, I never complain about the schedule. I've never complained to you about the schedule at all. I'm just saying that this is what all these teams are going through.
Yeah, I agree. You're also not load management guy, which we greatly appreciate. But, the late former Vikings coach Bud Grant once told me, distractions are the ultimate equalizer. So whether it's, 30 tickets here, I'm tired, I got this going on in my phone. I mean, distractions are the ultimate equalizer, right?
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. It's, playing these games, the preparation to play these games, like start, 36 hours before, or, as soon as if you're playing it back to back, as soon as that first game's over, your preparation for the next game starts with how you take care of your body, how you rest, how you sleep. And if you have a lot of distraction, a lot of comings and goings, and, you're just never going to be at your best. And, sometimes, I tell the players this, like, if you only have 70% left in the tank, let me know, but give me 100% of that 70%. Don't try to manage that 70% all by yourself. It's better that we kind of do it together so we know. But sometimes you're just not going to have 100% in the tank. It's just not.
That was pretty sneaky. You knew it was my birthday. Thank you very much for that wish, man. I have no idea how you knew, but here we are. How
a little Freebird told me. Oh,
man, he's just full of himself now with these Bears playing on Saturday night, the wild card round. Man, he's sharing secrets and everything. Hey, how has the officiating been in your games since that night against OKC when you got tossed?
I mean, largely been good. It's been largely been good. I think I haven't had any complaints about anything. There's obviously some missed calls here and there. I thought there was some, calls in the Denver game that we needed to go our way. Didn't necessarily get, but we had a chance to win that game irrespective of those. And everything else has been pretty much. I think we've been able to play basketball above the level of officiating, which is nothing. It's not a knock on officiating. It's just how you should play. Like, you should play at a standard where the calls don't matter.
Now the way you guys beat the Wiz Sunday, I mean, fair to say the guys were like, all right, let's stop jacking around with these bad teams. I mean, they went out and scored 141. Holy cow.
Yeah, we challenged them after the Miami game. That we wanted, we wanted to go up there and have a very locked in performance. We know, we're trying to be a little bit more self-aware in those situations, get off to a great start, set the tone with our starting unit. I thought they did a great job with that, right away from the jump. And, that's the way to take care of business. I mean, I was very pleased, the Atlanta game aside. The 3 games on the road trip were 48-minute victories. Both sides of the ball.
Yep.
Highly executed the game plan. Great discipline, and I thought they were really good performances. So, taking that into account, 3-1 on the road trip. We would have taken that before we left.
All right, so Coach Chris Finch, thanks to Second Harvest Heartland, 2harvest.org, and Prize Picks. We thank Prize Picks for season-long sponsorship. Chris Finch, 9 to noon. Approaching the midway point of the season, you guys have a winning record at home and on the road. You've beaten OKC and have a winning record in the conference. Overall, how would you assess the team's lot in life right now?
Yeah, I kind of like where we are. I mean, I think we're probably a couple games off the pace that when we look back, that we feel we should have had, but we have time to make up for it. We're capable of winning any game anywhere. I really like the way that our starters are playing right now. We're starting to get some bench production from Bones, Nas. Mike is starting to settle into a good rhythm. Jalen Clark. We've tightened the rotation up a little bit. So I'm pretty pleased where we are. I mean, I feel we're a little under the radar. I'm fine with that. People only really talk about us when we stub our toe. That's fine. we got a tough month of January to come, so we're just going to keep our head down and try to keep stacking wins right now.
You think you face Tyler Hero tonight? I see he's questionable.
Probably. I would think he probably comes back, but I'm not 100% sure. So.
After the Miami win, you mentioned game plan and some things that you really liked with 3 of the most recent victories. And after the Miami win Saturday, Edwards was asked about the Atlanta loss, and I saw this at The Athletic. He said, quote, "Most of the time we don't listen to the game plan. When we listen to it and execute it, we're pretty good." How does a coach work his way through that piece of honesty?
Well, I mean, listen, I would say that they listen more than not. And it's, I think it's about putting the work in alongside whatever the game plan is. The game plan's not always going to be perfect. We sometimes don't get it right. Sometimes, and many times once the game starts, you have to continually adjust. But if the effort's not there, then the game plan doesn't matter anyway. So, those were energy and effort games for me. Atlanta was chief among that.
Yep.
And the Brooklyn game too, and the game plan at that point in time, is irrelevant if you got to find the effort.
So with Anthony, the second part of that, Chris, is then he was asked after the Miami win why following the plan doesn't happen all the time, and he said, "Quote, I don't know. We're hard-headed. We want to make the game harder. Yeah. We listened tonight. That's the Miami win, and it worked out." Do these guys sometimes crave drama? Seriously.
Yeah, listen, sometimes, it's these guys are stubborn by nature. That's what makes them great. And, I think sometimes you got to do things to catch their attention. Or obviously when you play poorly, like you do in Atlanta, you catch everyone's attention. So, but I thought the game plan execution in Chicago was at a high level. I thought it was high level in Miami, and I thought it was high level in Washington, and we'll see tonight. Tonight's a good test for us because we just played these guys. They're going to certainly make adjustments. It's a little bit like a playoff game where, you got a couple days to retweak and then come back out. And I always am, whether the game plan is right or not, it's one of the things I look for early in the game. Like if we're not following the game plan or we're shortcutting, which is probably the better way to put it, I don't think it's a blatant screw it, we're not going to do that. It's like we're looking for shortcuts within the game plan. If we're doing that, then I know, we're not locked in and we're not where we need to be mentally. And I think that's probably more what Anthony's referring to.
Yeah, with Miami, sneaky tough team. Bam Adebayo is high end. If Tyler plays tonight, he obviously can score. But like with Jovic and Jaquez and Colel Ware, they have some crafty, tough players, don't they?
Well, they do. They always do a great job of maximizing their roster. They're always kind of altering their style of play when it, to their new personnel. Norman Powell is having a great season for them. He's been a key acquisition, and they're one of the best, most consistent defensive teams in the league, and they play hard and they make you beat them. And they're an outstanding coach. They have an outstanding coach in Spo, and they've got a lot of the intangibles that make good teams good.
Yeah, Spoelstra and Rick Carlisle, absolutely two of the best the last 2 decades. All right, couple of quickies to close here for Chris Finch, courtesy of Prize Picks and Second Harvest Heartland. Do you think your Eagles get back to the Super Bowl?
Ooh, I hope so. I don't know, man.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure we were in it to win it the other night, but we'll see. It feels like it's a kind of a wide open playoffs, regardless of record, seeding, anything, matchups.
Yeah.
Feels like it's completely wide open, which should be fun.
Yeah, you're completely in Tyler Hero, Norman Powell boxing one mode right now. I can tell. Games tonight 7:00 at Target Center. It's on the Timberwolves app on the iHeart audio app. Julius seems to be making some really good decisions and is shooting it very well. Other than the Brooklyn 38%. He's around 60% the last 2 weeks. What are you liking about Julius Randle's overall game?
Yeah, I think he's playing in a really good flow. his playmaking for us is huge. His decision making for us is huge. It's kind of at the center of our offense. And he's doing an excellent job of picking his spots when to be aggressive, getting off it when he's in a crowd or they send double teams, which they do quite a bit. And also avoiding turnovers. So, he's had a great offensive season, really has. Like, gone through a little bit of a 3-point shooting slump of late, but that'll even out. He'll start making them again, and he did the other day.
Trade deadline in less than a month. You guys getting many calls?
Not that I'm aware of. Not a lot has trickled down to me. So feels quiet, which is I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Lastly, thank you very much, Chris, for the second Harvest Heartland match with our Friday Feast fantasy football game. The final tally, $4,300 from you to Second Harvest Heartland. So I'm sure Barbie over there is going to be hitting you up quite soon. That was awesome.
Okay.
That was awesome what you did, my man. Thank you very much.
No, I appreciate you guys supporting us, and was fun.
Thanks, bud. Carry it up tonight. We'll talk next week, all right?
Okay, take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.
See you, man. Chris Finch, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Thanks to Second Harvest Heartland, 2harvest.org, and Prize Picks. Who would we mix in from a prize pick standpoint tonight against the Miami Heat or the Heat against Finchie's team? Well, he's right. Norman Powell's been on a scoring tear of late.
You like Norman.
You got to consider Normie a little bit.
What about that Jaime Jaquez cat?
Yeah.
Are we going deep diving, or are we just going to stay with the big names?
I'm more thinking our side.
Okay.
With off the tense nature, not tense nature, the focused nature of the head coach during that interview, specifically when we're talking about not executing game plans, and he comes back with it was low key. You gotta follow the croutons to get to the chef salad on this one, but he's like blah 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 blah. And when the effort's not good, it doesn't really matter what the game plan is. That was kind of cool. The
tough thing with Ant right now is because he's just being forced to, it feels like, in every game, one way or another. He's got to push that thing 30-plus every night.
Yep.
Do you want to sweat, or are you going to go less than 30.5 points against the Heat?
Ooh.
Or would you go more than on Prize Picks? That's where it sits right now.
Yeah.
Now you can go easy. You can go green devil horns and kind of soft sell yourself as part of a winning lineup at more than 24.5.
Yeah.
That feels like that's incredibly gettable.
Yeah.
But if you want to go for better chances, higher payout, 32.5. Let's get 33 for Ant tonight.
I like Ant over on points, which is a complete square lemming pick, but nevertheless, I ain't betting under on him. And Bam Adebayo's assists over.
Oh, I dig that.
I'd consider those two on your Prize Picks.
Prize Picks, though.
Thank you, Prize Picks. Thank you, Second Harvest Heartland. Thank you, Chris Finch. With the IHOP in honor of Paul segments coming to a conclusion with the Friday Football Feast. There was $8,600 is what my picks generated this year. $4,300 from fantasycares.org and a match from Chris Finch, $4,300 to Second Harvest Heartland. And
well done.
He's a board member for Second Harvest Heartland. All right, timbertech.com. What's on deck 9 to noon? Includes Vikes Bites, a couple of segments from now. The Scribes here at 10:03. Burgeoning and ever-improving Wild television hockey analyst Alex Stalock joins us at 11 o'clock from Seattle. And when we return, one of our very favorites, Courtney Cronin, who covers the Chicago Bears for ESPN and ESPN.com. We'll catch up with CC around the corner. Nordo produces, and I'm Paul Allen. It's 9:20. Good morning. You're listening to 9 to noon on FM 100.3 KFAN.
And I must clomp to offer listeners one more thing this morning, 9 to noon, TimberTech set list style. It's Vox's 60th birthday today.
What are we doing? I didn't leave the 11:20 open saying Nordo craps, Nordo leads.
Yeah.
For this, but what do you got?
Well, that actually, we're going to start digging into coaching vacancies and some teams. We're going to peek over at the fence. Would Flow go? That's going to be the crux and the theme of the 11:20. But because it's the 60th birthday of the announcer, I was given yesterday a pair of Wild tickets for this Devils game at Grand Casino Arena. I believe it's Monday the 12th. It's burning a hole in my pocket. I'm either going to go on my own. I'm just going to take the tickets myself. Or
Take me.
Talkback machine, free iHeartRadio app. Use the talkback function. Wish the Vikes a happy 60th birthday today. I'll be playing them throughout the show, and one of you is going to get a pair of tickets to Wild and the Devils Monday at Grand Casino Arena. Free iHeartRadio app. Hit that microphone. Give us up to your best 30 seconds, and wish the Vikes a happy 60th. As you heard it, 9 to noon, Courtney Cronin next right here on The Fan.
Very kind. Thank you.
Hey, good morning, guys. Mitch here from South St. Paul. Just wanted to wish a happy 6-0 to the PA, Paul Allen, the man of the hour. Happy birthday, Paul. Man, my birthday's on the 17th, so we're really close. Although, I mean, I have one chin at least still clear.
It's
3, but
3.
Hey, happy birthday. We love to hear that. Glad that you're on the show. You've changed my life for the better. And again, happy birthday, Paul.
God bless you, brother. The chin count, 3.5 after some sweets eating over the weekend. It's emotional eating once the 9 and 8 came to a conclusion. Also, the happiest of birthdays to teammate Zach Halverson here at KFAN, and also Minnesota Vikings wide receivers coach Keenan McCardell celebrating his birthday today. And joining us now is one of our very favorites, Courtney Cronin, at Courtney R. Cronin via the X Machine. Courtney covers the Bears for ESPN and ESPN.com. It's Wild Card Weekend. Green Bay is at Chicago Saturday night. Here comes CC. Hey there, are you going to Atlanta for the Friday Peach Bowl and your alma mater, the IU Hoosiers, then flying back to Chicago Saturday morning for the big game at Soldier Field that night? And good morning.
Good morning and happy birthday.
Aww.
Burying the lead much. That is the plan. That is the plan.
Oh, it is?
I am doing everything within my power to get down there. I have a ticket. It's just going to depend on how a few things shake out at the end of the week because it is the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. And
I was not expecting them to be that Saturday game. I don't think many people were.
Yeah.
That seemed like that was primed for an NBC slot, but Amazon Prime, here it is. $150 million for Bears-Packers. So going to be testing the laws of time and patience this weekend if I'm able to make it, but really hoping to get to see Indiana make it to the national championship by beating Oregon.
With I mean, the Saturday night game actually did beloved C a favor, I would imagine. I mean, not to get too far in the weeds with the boring schedule during the course of the week, but the final press conference into the game that you always attend would be a Friday for a Sunday. So now it's a Thursday for a Saturday, which means C gets a travel day on Friday, a game Friday night, get back early on Saturday, hoping we have no bad weather. I mean, this sounds good enough to eat.
Yeah, no, you're right. That part is nice about the Friday schedule. I just worry with like the Saturday turnaround. But either way, if I'm able to make it down there, if it's all systems go, just hoping that the weather cooperates and there's no freak snowstorm that would throw off my travel plans of getting back to cover a playoff game.
Said Hoosiers, the alma mater of Courtney Cronin. Said Hoosiers are favored over Oregon. I think it's 4. Do you think they're going to win and get to the national championship game?
I do. And I know that sounds probably like some home cooking just because of where I graduated from and that I've been banging the drum for Indiana all year. But the type of performance that they put up in the Rose Bowl was not just a byproduct of a bad Alabama team that couldn't run the ball to save their life. I think they finished with 23 rushing yards. That's not the Derrick Henry Alabamas or the Mark Ingram Alabamas. That's pretty bad Alabama. Oregon's different. Obviously, Oregon's the reason we can say that Indiana's a national championship contender in the first place because of what happened on October 11th. That's a battle-tested team. For them to go on the road to Autzen and for Fernando Mendoza to throw the pick 6 and then rebound the way that they did, that was the most complete performance we saw from the team top to bottom all season. And then, of course, there's the Penn State game, and people want to find their favorite moments from there on out. But for me, it was that first Oregon meeting. And I do think that matchup for matchup, defensive line against their offensive line is probably where I'd give Indiana the edge. We saw the type of pressure that they got on Ty Simpson routinely last week, and I think that will carry over to how they game plan for Dante Moore. But I mean, never in my wildest imagination did I ever think that I'd be looking ahead to, who did they match up better with? Is it the speed of Ole Miss, or is it, a trenches matchup with Miami in the national championship? So it's just wild that we're at this point right now.
Hey, Courtney, what was it like last week on ESPN TV hosting First Take with big timers like Cam Newton and Dan Orlovsky? I mean, that was fantastic.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun, and I love getting a chance to do it whenever I can. Certainly this time of year is more prevalent, but, the way that I had this conversation with someone yesterday because we were on January 1st and on the 2nd, so the day of the Rose Bowl, the day after the Rose Bowl, and all the bowl games that were really, the forefront of what we talked about outside of the NFL. And there's something that has to happen now that you have a team from the Big Ten that's relevant and not just a one-year, one-hit wonder. There's so many SEC voices out there because predominantly, I'm not even just talking about, Paul Feinbaum, who obviously is a prevalent SEC voice. He always will be, always has been. But like the analysts on TV, there's no former players that went to Indiana that are, vouching for the Big Ten, vouching for their school, trying to squash the narrative that everybody's holding on to from 5, 10, 15 years ago, that the SEC dominance of then is the SEC dominance of now. Because I feel like more of the conversation last week was, why did Bama perform like that? Why did Georgia perform like that? Instead of, wow, Ole Miss representing the SEC on the biggest stage, or wow, giving Indiana the credit that they're due. And not using the rhetoric as though they're just a basketball school. To me, that's a very lazy narrative from people who are not educated about the current state of athletics in Indiana. I know Barrero will agree with me on that.
Preach.
That's holding on to a very lazy narrative from years ago. So for me, I felt really proud that I had a chance to correct a little bit of that and educate a bit of that to a national audience when I'm sitting there with aforementioned Cam Newton, graduate of our Auburn quarterback,
yep.
Paul Feinbaum, SEC, voice of the SEC, Ryan Clark, LSU, former LSU player. Like it's a neat chance that I had in that week, and then the whole Christmas week too. But really last week when the narrative about college football was changing in real time and people are finally waking up to it, that the pundits are being forced to talk about Indiana in a way, and even Oregon in a way that they didn't before.
That's spectacularly explained. Let's marathon this courtesy of Steve's Appliances and stevesappliances.com. They provide us with the marathon segments again in 2026. Well, off what you said, hey, it wasn't about the winner, it was about what Georgia did or what Alabama did not do against IU. As the Bears go, Sunday, I mean, my mind and heart goes to what happened to the Bears against the Lions, not what the Lions did against the Bears, and here's why. After Campbell put 52 up on them week 2, I fully expected Ben to roll up 53 or higher Sunday if he had the chance, but they lost the game. Was that surprising to you?
Yeah, absolutely, especially for the first reason that you point out, that he won't publicly say it's a revenge game. I don't want to be embarrassed the way that they were in week 2. But you saw the handshake after the game. It was 2 seconds long. He was fuming about the offense afterwards, as he should be. But this is not what they wanted at this time of year. Like, to play your best football in December, so you're playing great football in January, you don't want to back your way into the playoffs. That's how a lot of teams have done it, the Eagles being one of them. I understand they rested their starters. Same thing with Green Bay. Green Bay is probably more of a prevalent example of a team that's lost 4 straight now. Not great. You saw that game last week, and I know starters will be back. But you don't want that taste in your mouth of having to rid the last 2 losses, mentally get over them, and then play perfect football in a do-or-die situation. So I was not expecting it to take them that long to get off to to score their first points. I mean, it was 16-0 in the beginning of the fourth quarter. After 1 week after, you get in a shootout with San Francisco, which was, I believe, the only game that had I don't know, it's not a scoregami, but I don't know how you would classify it, where it was like 7-7, 14-14, 21-21, 28-28, so on and so forth, until obviously they win 42-38.
Yep.
Like, that was surprising. Like, where did that high-octane offense go? And I get it. Ben said yesterday and the day before this was one of their simpler game plans, which irritated him that they couldn't execute a simpler game plan. And there were a lot of mental errors. In the first 19 plays, they had 6 mental errors that he counted. And that's, I think, frustrating, because this was one that you had to have to feel good about going into the playoffs. They're fortunate that the draw that they have is a very injured Green Bay team, especially on defense. But it's also a Green Bay team that kept you on your heels until the final minute of the force overtime. So that being said, like, I know that he can't go the same full throttle approach that he took the last time they were 0-2 or lost 2 games, which was the beginning of the season, where he makes them practice for 2.5 hours in 90-degree heat, and it's one of the more intense physical practices. If you can't do that at this stage, that's when he called them out for not having championship caliber practice habits. But you better flush this in a hurry and not let the big game juice that comes with Bears-Packers affect you the way that it did the first time you played this team in Week 13.
Amen.
CC.
So if the Bears lose Saturday night to Green Bay, should the turnaround be considered a success, given the Bears went from last to first in the division?
I think so. I mean, they're a year ahead of schedule in the eyes of most people. And some people say, we had them going to the playoffs all along. We didn't have them at 11 wins.
Right.
No one did. No one with a brain did. But things broke well for them with the schedule, with who they were facing, the quarterbacks in which they were facing. And I think that says something about how they could sustain success throughout the season. Whether you believe momentum carries over week to week or not, they still had 2 4-game win streaks. And that's what they're aiming for now when the stakes are ultimately at their highest. So I think it would be a major disappointment because of getting there and showing up to the playoffs. If it's the same effort of what it looked like last week, that's not great. Or even in the first 2 Green Bay games, they trailed at halftime. But if it's anything other than that, you're playing with house money. If they make it into the divisional round, that's all house money from there on out, because no one would have expected them to get that far in the first year of Ben Johnson.
Are you expecting Rome Odunze to return for this one? And if so, how much will it help?
It'll help for sure. I think guys catching passes will help too. That was a big problem this past game. Luther Burden was a victim of it. Jade Walker as well. DJ Moore kind of gave up on the interception in the end zone. That was a touchback. Like, I think having Rome back, he hasn't played since the Philly game, and he had a practice last week on Friday. He was limited, but he's been doing workouts pregame. He's been moving around. He's itching to get back out there. They needed to shut him down to protect him from himself, because he kept pushing it. He has a stress fracture in his foot. He's playing through that, and the only way that gets better is if you stay off of it. Now, he and Caleb have had some chemistry issues at times this year, where it's like, this is your number 1 wide receiver. Like, why doesn't it look easier with him? And I would be cautious of that, just knowing that it's going to take some time for those two to get back in a rhythm. But if he has a full go in practice this week, they have a walkthrough today, and then they'll have 2 practices Wednesday and Thursday, then he will play. And I think that's the plan the whole week for, anticipating he will be back.
Time for 2 more.
Courtney's most recent story at ESPN.com involves the still budding relationship between quarterback Caleb Williams and head coach Ben Johnson. Now, the assumption here is it's quite good, given Caleb just rolled up to a game wearing an A.C. Reynolds High School Rockets jersey with the number 12 Ben Johnson wore when he played at the North Carolina high school. So how far have these two come when it comes to executing winning game plans?
I think fairly far. I mean, there's obviously a long way to go, but as I documented over the course of the season, this is a quarterback who he got what he asked for. Like last year, he didn't feel like Matt Eberflus knew what he was doing. Like in all honesty, asking to be held accountable, asking to be coached hard, all that stuff. That's saying to your head coach and to the staff, I think you people are incompetent. That is exactly what that is, saying it in a more politically correct way. So he gets a coach who gets in here and is on his ass 24/7 early on. I remember there were times during OTAs and minicamp where, this is guys in shorts running around and Ben Johnson's screaming his head off because somebody's aligned an inch off and they have to re-huddle and run the play again. And there were times where Caleb's like, I don't even know if this guy likes me. And this was somebody that he wanted so badly to like him, somebody he wanted so much that he fell for these teenagers pranking him. I remember it was wild card weekend. It was literally before Ben Johnson had interviewed with any of the teams on the Saturday because they were the 1 seed last year in Detroit. Like, Caleb so desperately wanted it to be Ben Johnson that he fell for a prank of these kids saying, hey, it's Ben Johnson. I've been hired to be your coach. And then he called the number. And then, of course, the kids, are videoing it and put it on TikTok. He got exactly what he wanted. And there's results now that you see. Like, my phrase that I've used all year long, Paul, is proof of concept, to where Ben may call a play that looks like it might not work, but when it does, you're like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think any coach, any quarterback combination, that's how you build trust, to see that the body of work stands for itself and it's not just a house of cards that's going to fall, that looks good and it's going to fall down. That's why this relationship has ultimately succeeded. And I think he's in demanding a lot from Caleb. It's improved his work ethic. It's improved how much time he's been in the building. It's improved the overall command that he has. Like, this is his team. He's not a rookie trying to feel his way among a bunch of vets the way that he did last year. And all of those things have factored into why they've had so much success early on in their relationship.
All right, we have a new time for two more.
Time for two more.
Your biggest fan, Johnny the Mouse Mickelson, has texted me an IU question that I can't leave on the table. Final on the NFL. Green Bay. Is it fair to say, Courtney, if Dobbs doesn't mess up that onside kick, the Packers probably win that game a couple of Saturdays ago? And just overall, what do you think of the Packers?
I think they're a team that is doing the exact same thing they did last year, which is slumping at the wrong time. Mm-hmm. We saw what happened those two division games that they lost week 17 and 18. They go to Philly, they get smacked. And it's not just Micah Parsons. I mean, sure, they miss him and everything, but like, they're still a capable defense. They held the Bears. It was 6-0 at halftime. And if it's not for DJ Moore on that third down throw, I believe, and then Jade Walker catching the pass in the corner of the end zone by using all 6'4.5" of his frame to grab it, and it's a completely different story. The Dobbs injury on the onside kick, it was kind of weird that nobody went over to help him on that. I thought that was, the recovery, obviously it's him. It bounces off his chest and he gets hurt, but I feel like this is a team that has crumbled a lot in big moments in the postseason under Matt LaFleur. And there's a reason why, as of right now, he doesn't have a contract extension, but they match up, for the Bears, matching up with the Packers is probably the best draw that they could have in a 2-7 matchup, because they've seen them a lot. They know that there are things that they've held back from their game plan that ultimately they will expect will be some unscouted looks that they see this weekend, but not many. Not many. I mean, last week, you can't even look at last week's film and say that's who Green Bay is, because you had Clayton Tune starting at quarterback.
Right.
So I think it's a good draw for them. I think they should win this game. But if they don't, there's going to be a lot of questions of why was the snowball effect something you couldn't stop from the San Francisco game onwards.
All right. Lifetime dear friend of mine, Johnny the Mouse Mickelson, who has all your albums, texted me. For Courtney, back to IU. Does CC feel Mendoza will be the first taken in the draft, and is it warranted?
Warranted, yes. I know some people say that Dante Moore is the better pro prospect, but I think that Mendoza, if he wins the national championship, not unlike another quarterback who just won a national championship that you guys know all too well, it's warranted that he would be where he'd be drafted, number one. I just hope the Raiders don't screw him up, because they need to hit full reset on their rebuild, meaning coaching staff, no carryovers from this staff, and going out and getting somebody that can continue on to develop a quarterback. Because if there's one thing, and I actually think about Fernando Mendoza quite a bit when that conversation came up that Wes Phillips was having a couple weeks ago with the Beat about the pure progression passing game, like a lot of guys do that in college because most players do that in college because that's how it's taught. Fernando Mendoza might be the only one who is like the antithesis of that in college football right now. So I think he needs somebody who can challenge him from the respect of, a real NFL offense. Obviously, he's going to have a learning curve, but I really hope that part of the coach of like the overall what they're doing in Vegas this year, since he will probably be going there, I hope they get it right because I don't want to see another Heisman Trophy talented quarterback like Caleb Williams get screwed up by the first staff that they're with. Like it's such a rich investment that if they don't trade out of that number one pick and decide to like completely go the long way of a rebuild, when you can get a franchise quarterback, I hope that you have the right infrastructure around them.
Greatly appreciate you. Ain't nobody better, Courtney. Thank you. Safe travels on Friday and Saturday morning, okay? Because I know you're going to do this. And thank you very much for the time, all right? Go Hoosiers.
Thank you. I hope you have a good birthday.
I appreciate you. Go Courtney Cronin, and we'll talk soon. See ya. That's CC, Courtney Cronin, at Courtney R. Cronin via X, covers the Bears for ESPN, used to cover the Vikings for said entity. She's fantastic. It's 9:45. Vikes Bites are next.
Good morning and happy birthday, PA, you voxy son of a gun, you. Hey, I've been listening to you for the better part of 20 years, and I can't imagine a Sunday going by without hearing you during the football season. And I just want to say thank you for all the years, and I hope we get another 60 out of you. Happy birthday, my friend.
Thank you. Be nice to get another 60 out of it. It's more of a long shot than McCarthy starting game one next year for Kevin O'Connell's Vikings.
Another 60? Yeah.
But you never know.
Don't count yourself out.
You never know. But thank you very much for the kindness. Thank you, Norda, for setting up those talkbacks.
Let me play one more, and then we'll get to some Vikes Bites.
And my man for calling me Voxy.
Voxy?
I got called Voxy. That was kind of sweet.
PA, happy birthday, man. I am an OG listener. I've been listening to you so long that I used to listen to you through my computer in college in the early 2000s in Canton, Missouri. I was like one of the first people to figure out how to work the radio through the computer. So, happy birthday. I can't believe we're this old, my friend.
Amen.
Take care.
An old schooler. Puppy. Thank you very much for the kindness there. I still very much love calling Minnesota Vikings football games. This year that we just completed was my 24th. So there just weren't as many big offensive plays this year as we've had in the past. And it's not for me to anoint myself how God made me or what positions I'm best at per God's plan. But when there are big offensive plays, I seem to have a lot of fun with them. And there just weren't a lot of big offensive plays this year, man, you know?
No, it's the stream of consciousness that you have. And the end, he's loose. We got to hear it with Isaiah Rodgers early in the season, Bengals game, 5 takeaways, all that. But it's sadly 2025 was marked more by the emotional. Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous.
The rhetorical question.
Yes, correct. The questioning our existence, the questioning is what I am seeing on the current field actually happening?
Yeah.
And sad. I mean, that's a 9-8 season. That's why we're having Courtney Cronin on to talk about Bears Pack, sadly, and not who the Vikings will be facing this weekend.
About a quarter century into the blessing of doing this job, how I know I still love it is what transpired yesterday with me out of nowhere. I mean, because, Nordo and I and 9 to Noon started saying after that Bears game that when you're basically a minimal chancer to make the playoffs and you got 3 major holidays in front of you, a lot of things factor into that, the human nature aspect of it with the players and stuff. But, other people, ancillary people working with the program, that would include like the broadcast team and stuff. So I was reserved for quite some time knowing the team wasn't going to the playoffs. But the frustration came out in me yesterday for some reason. Like, I didn't go to bed Sunday night pissed off the Vikings weren't going to the playoffs. I was resigned. I had been resigned for quite some time, knowing they're not going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then I woke up here, and Nordo hits me with a paraphrasing, having the season end like this is stupid. Well, then it pissed me off. Not at him, but the situation. Then I started to get mad. So then I had this whole thing crafted and stuff, and I was more frustrated into the microphone yesterday than I thought I would be. Then I thought about it a little later, like, why, man? Where'd that come from? It's because we care. We really enjoy Vikings conversation, not only year-round, but specifically late July through the postseason, even if it's a loss.
In the thick of it, man.
And then, my dear friend Kevin Stefanski lost his job yesterday with Cleveland. So then I'm seeing some tweets about Stefanski and, certain good things and perceived bad things and stuff. And then I got pissed off again because I was like, all right, well, if this guy over here thinks Kirk Cousins is going to be cut by Atlanta and Atlanta's going to interview Kevin Stefanski to be the head coach, what if Kirk stays? Because the last time the Vikings won a playoff game was before the freaking pandemic.
Yeah.
It was 2019 with Stefanski as OC and Cousins at quarterback. So then I got pissed off again, had to go to bed and miss most of the Wild game.
Think what Stefanski could do. Play action, Bijan Robinson.
Oh, wow.
He's got Kyle Pitts. Finally, it's taken years, showing a pulse. Drake London.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, see, you get resigned to it because you're out of the mix. The problem is, though, this is not first overall pick radio, PA.
Right.
This is, if this happens, XYZ, roster built to win, team makes massive investments in the talent on this squad.
Yeah.
And it all hinges really in this one particular position, happens to be the most important position on the field in any sport, really, the quarterback spot.
Mm-hmm.
But if this goes right, this doesn't go wrong, we're talking about a playoff team. That's where I'm always able to emotionally compartmentalize and say goodbye to the season. I understand why we're in this spot. But then when I got to do Brian McKnight's One Last Cry, and I'm becoming really good at it because it's the 12th freaking year in a row that I've had to do the montage.
That also elevated my frustration when you said that yesterday, and I'm like, are we ever not going to end a season with Brian McKnight's One Last Cry?
Oh.
Are we ever going to play Queen, We Are the Champions?
How good would that be?
And then you're like...
I'd be doing it on no sleep because I would be floating in the freaking clouds that entire previous night.
And you're like, we've Brian McKnighted it with a montage for 12 years. And I'm like, damn, man, that's been a long time. Holy cow.
Ridiculous. All right, well, I got off track. Technically, this is Vikes Bites.
We're good. We got the scriber on the corner, so Vikes Bites, whatever topics you have that you don't use here can drop in there. But I understand regarding this segment, regarding Vikes Bites, which is 5 days a week, 9 to noon. Sometimes it goes 10 minutes. Sometimes it goes 25 minutes. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe we are in search of a sponsor.
Yeah, we are. Vikes Bites. And just, over the last 2.5-ish, 3 years, I believe.
Yeah.
Nearly Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef. They've been amazing partners to 9 to noon. Terrific people in my life. Matt and everybody. It's a Clearwater, Minnesota company.
Yeah, they're great.
Absolutely love them, and they're kicking ass. And but this sponsorship, Vikes Bites, this slot where we get to talk about you every day for about 45 seconds. This is yes, it is technically open for business at this particular time. So many thanks to Matt and everybody at Thousand Hills. And as you heard a couple weeks ago, Matt did agree he would match my fantasy winnings, which I believe was $3,300 to support Feed My Starving Children.
Yep.
So again, so many thanks to Thousand Hills, but an opportunity for a business out there in the metro and beyond that wants to hear us talking about them on a daily basis as we do Vikes Bites. We love our purple and we love you. So, but Vikes Bites, it's very paltry because we're going to be talking about free agents and some other things. What I did want to hit on Thursday, I believe, time to be determined, courtesy of PR, season-ending press conference for Kevin O'Connell. I'm assuming maybe Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah might be speaking. Maybe I'm assuming wrongly in that regard.
Yeah, it's the season closing recap with the head coach and the general manager Thursday. Like you said, it's TBA. did a little lobbying yesterday for the old 11 a.m. slot, and we'll see what happens.
You think I didn't potentially reply to the PR guy saying, we love a morning presser night?
Yeah, I mean, we never get them. I don't think we're going to get this one, but nevertheless, that's coming up Thursday.
Yeah, and we'll end on this. I saw some audio from Jalen Naylor, and he'll be part of the conversation with Ben Gessling next hour. Just would be good to come back. Season ending, lockers being cleaned out, and just some good bits and pieces coming out of that as this particular incarnation of the Vikings departs and parts ways really forever. And you start to turn things around, some reserve contracts. Mm-hmm. The wheels already turning into 2026. Right. But Jalen Naylor, some other names I would definitely like to broach, not Vikes Bites style, but Ben Gessling style as we get into the 10 a.m. hour.
Yeah, and by the way, this Vikes Bites, these Vikes Bites segments, again, are daily 9 to noon. It's somewhere between, I mean, you've heard yours truly and or Nordo with Thousand Hills, grass-fed beef, Steve's Appliances, the Weekend Wrap by Hoffman Cooling and Heating, which will return somewhere around April or May. If you believe in the station and subsequently believe in us, then we're going to do our darndest 9 to noon to make sure you get paid. And we are not afraid to push the envelope, and we are not afraid to oversell what you do if we believe in it. So if you'd like to advertise with KFAN, specifically 9 to noon, and pick up that Vikes Bites tab as part of your endorsement deal, you can contact Nordo or yours truly via email. We can start there. Shoot, you could text 64686 right now and jumpstart it. But we'd love to have you part of the family, and we absolutely aim to make you and your company not just money, a lot of money. This is broadcasting. This is not narrowcasting. This is not online. This is radio. This is broadcasting. We have capabilities podcasting and things like that don't have. So, therefore, just consider that 64686 if you want to hook up with Nordo. Nordo, by the way, is the father of 3 young girls, Ava, Stella, and Hannah. And I bring it up because, I mean, just what an amazing birthday wish text I just got from my daughter in Denver. And I think you're going to like this, Nordo, having 3 girls.
Ooh.
Now, Coley's going to be 23 in a couple of weeks. So you're obviously a decade and change away from that with the twins. But get ready for this. You ready?
Yeah.
Happy birthday to my best friend ever. And that includes the whole planet. I love you and wish I could be there for you today. By the way, can you put $400 in my account?
I always love that one.
I need this. She didn't say that at the end. I'm just kidding. But get ready for that, man.
Love you, love Coley, man. That's amazing.
Great. All right. Appreciate all the kind birthday wishes. Ben Gessling, the scribe, covers the team for the Star Tribune at StarTribune.com. He joins us next, 9 to noon style, courtesy of Standard Heating and Air at FM 100.3 KFAN.